Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. Coach Arnold here and I'm going to explain the basic of cost accounting. But before I start, please don't forget to subscribe our channel and follow our Facebook page, Accounting is Easy PH. I skip to define cost accounting because I think the word itself explains the definition. But rather, I start with the classification of cost. Before that, let's understand first the difference or the relationship of cost, expenses, and losses. Cost is a value sacrificed for goods and services that expected to bring a current or future benefit, while expenses are also costs. It's costs used up in production of revenue or expired costs. Expenses will be deducted in revenue to get income. So ang ibig sabihin lang nito is when we say cost, it doesn't mean that we'll automatically consider as expense. Magiging expense lang siya if this cost has already been used or already expired. And that's we call the cost of goods sold. While losses are costs expired without producing revenue. This will include the write-offs of some asset account. But in cost accounting, mostly we are talking only about the cost, meaning how to derive the value sacrificed of goods and services. So, in this video, I'm going to explain first the classification of costs as to relation to products. So, let's start. Cost classified as the relation to product. In this classification, we have the manufacturing cost or the product cost. Tinatawag itong product cost dahil ito ang mga costs or value na bumubuo sa isang produkto, and that can be reported as asset, like inventory in the balance sheet, of which it includes direct materials, direct labor, and factory overhead. Next are the non-manufacturing costs, or it also called as period costs. Tinatawag ito na period cost because these costs are charged to expense as the period incurred. These costs include marketing or selling expenses and the general and administrative expenses. Okay, let's start with the product cost. My example here is the table. To manufacture a table, we will need materials, and it is called direct materials. Or let's abbreviate this as DM. So ano nga ba ang direct materials ng mesa? Yes, kahoy or lumber. So what is direct materials? The direct materials, it is a material that become part of the finished product and can be conveniently and economically traced to specific product units. Ang keyword po dito ay material that can be conveniently and economically traced to a product. Like in our example, sa unang tingin pa lang, we know already that ang material na ginagamit dito is kahoy. We do not need any scientific evidence or any tools para masabi natin that ang material na ginagamit to manufacture the table is a lumber, right? And these materials will not form a table itself. Kailangan po ito ng tao na magbuo ng materials or a person who exchange time for a value and able to create a table. And this is called direct labor, and abbreviated this as DL. Direct labor is defined as a labor cost for a specific work performed on product that can be conveniently and economically traced to end products. Tulad ng pag-form ng circle to make this table or pag-form ng mga paa para tumayo ang table na ito or ang mesang ito. Ang dalawang cost na ito ang pangunahing cost ng isang produkto. So that's why if direct materials and direct labor is combined, it is called prime cost. Prime meaning the primary or yung pangunahin. So pangunahing materials ng isang produkto. Kaya siya tinatawag na prime cost. Another product cost is called indirect materials. These are materials that cannot be conveniently traced to the end product. Examples are wood nails, sandpaper, or protective gears that used for the safety of the person who manufactured this table. Though these are necessary materials to form or to convert a product, but we cannot associate these materials into a unit of product. It can be used to any other products. Next is the indirect labor. The most common example ng indirect labor are the supervisors of manufacturing plant, if any, or helpers of production operation, which their labor could not be associated to a unit of product, same as the indirect materials. So their labor is for the whole production, not only in one unit of product. So these indirect materials and indirect labor are called factory overhead, or the FOH, or some call it as manufacturing overhead. So in short, FOH are materials and labor that cannot be conveniently traced to the end product. And if the direct labor, or the DL, and the factory overhead, or the FOH, is combined, it is called conversion cost. Okay, if you have some question with this product cost, feel free to comment below. Now, let's proceed to the period cost. As I said before, these costs are expensed as when the period it incurred. So we have marketing and selling expense. These are costs necessary to secure customer orders and get finished products or service into the hands of the customer, like advertising or packaging of products during the delivery, or even the delivery costs, or yung mga sales commission. So those are example of marketing expense or selling expense. Another period costs are administrative and general expenses. These are executive, organizational, and clerical expenses that cannot be logically be included under either production or marketing. Examples are salaries of administrative office supplies, or any other company expenses that does not related to the manufacturing or in marketing. So, I think that's the end of this video presentation. Thank you for watching. Our next topic in this cost accounting series will be the cost classification as to behavior. It explains the variable cost, fixed costs, and mixed costs. So now, don't forget to subscribe this channel and share it to your friends. Thank you.